Welcome to another little Guzzling Gourmet baking session. We're going to make some Amaretti biscuits again, or cookies, or whatever you want to call them, Amarettis. Okay, but these are Pistachio Amarettis, and I'm using a recipe from the boy who bakes, Ed Kimber, who, for those of you who don't know, he was the first ever winner of the Great British Bake Off. So we're going to be following his recipe, and so essentially we need some caster sugar, some icing sugar, some pistachios, some ground almonds or almond flour, which is what I'm going to be using, 3 egg whites, a pinch of salt, and some vanilla extract. You'll want your oven on at what is it? I think it's 100. Well, if you've got a fan oven, 160. Okay, so get that up to temperature. 2 baking trays lined with baking paper. I've got a whisk which I've degreased, and a bowl which I'm going to do the meringue in, if you like. It's not really meringue, but that's what it's going to start out like. So that's all been degreased, so we've got everything to go. So let's crack on. So in my little mini blender, food processor here, I've got my pistachios. Now they're whole at the moment. We don't want them whole, obviously they're not in the shells. But we don't want them whole. I've got 100 grams of them. We're going to blitz them up, but because of the nature of them, if we blitz them, as they get warm up, they sort of release the oils and they're going to become more like a paste, which we don't want. We want them more like a ground up flour. So what we're going to do is we're going to add to that some ground almonds or almond flour. Now I've got 275 grams of that, so I'm going to put into that blender approximately half of that, although I probably won't get all that in there. And what we'll do is we'll blitz them together, and that should help can't speak now, help prevent the start becoming more like a paste. So we need to be careful as we do it. We don't want it turning into a paste. Ooh. So I'm going to grind them up together. Now when we've done that, we can obviously add the rest of that, which we won't really do to that. Okay, but it doesn't matter. You're going to want some, like I say, some caster sugar. I've got 250 grams there. Now that is to go into the Amaretti. We will want some more caster sugar for like a coating. And you're going to want some icing sugar, again, simply for a coating. Okay. And then I think I said to you 3 egg whites. So I'm going to get these finished, and then I'm going to put them in a bowl, and then we'll move on to meringue. So I've got a bowl here. I'm going to put the remainder of the ground almonds into there. Okay, and we're then going to tip the pistachio and ground almond mix into there. Okay. All that. Now we're then going to take about half of that sugar and put that into there. Now the remainder will be whisked in with the what's name, egg whites. So I'm just going to give this a bit of a mix together. Okay. And then we're essentially ready to start doing our meringue mix. Okay, so there you go. There's the dry ingredients done. So 3 large egg whites in there. And what we're now just going to do is we're just going to start whisking this up, okay, as if we're going to make a meringue. Okay, and when we've got that nice and frothy and starting to, you know, peak, we'll then start adding in the rest of that sugar. So we've almost got that all whisked up, so I'm just going to add about a teaspoon of vanilla extract. I've obviously got a teaspoon in there, but that'll do for this. Okay, and now I'm just going to give that a little whisk along until we get some soft peaks formed, and then we're going to start blending these two mixtures together. So, although obviously we're sort of making a meringue, we're not worried about it being a proper meringue. So, although we want to try and be fairly gentle with combining it together, so we don't need too much air out, it's not the same as making meringues where we've got to be overly concerned, okay, about the amount of air in it. So I've just added a little bit to the dry ingredients, and we'll just blend that in. The key thing is to get the two all nicely combined together, okay, without obviously any obvious streaks. And then that is the basic Amaretti mix done. However, we would like it to be a nice chewy and sort of that sort of crisp outer, if you like typical of an Amaretti. So we're going to be using some caster sugar and some icing sugar to enable us to do that. Now you can see, well you probably can't, but I've still got white streaks in this, so I'm just going to keep going till I've got this all nicely mixed together. Now it is quite a sticky mess, okay, and we've got to try and form this into balls, and what we're going to use to do that is an ice cream scoop. But before we do that, just get that out of the way before I make a mess everywhere. We're just going to prepare our 2 bowls of sugar. So I've got some icing sugar here in a shallow dish. I'm just going to put some caster sugar in that, and then I'll show you what we're going to do. And I've got my baking trays here with some parchment paper or whatever on it, ready to put the Amaretti onto. So what I'm doing, I've already done 2, is I'm taking some of the Amaretti mixture in an ice cream scoop, and I'm dropping that into the bowl of caster sugar. Now it is very soft, okay, so we're just going to toss it around in there and then just form it into a ball, and then the idea being we then just coat it all over with icing sugar. Now this is to give us this characteristic Amaretti appearance. Okay, so we're just going to carry on doing that. Now this is quite a large scoop, well it's a standard size scoop. You might want to use a slightly smaller one if you like your Amaretti smaller, or you could just do without one altogether and just scoop it out with a spoon and do it that way. The choice is yours. Okay, so I'm just going to go on. I reckon I'm going to get about 6 on this tray because they're obviously going to spread. Okay, and then like I say, we'll whack it into the oven, 160 fan, 180 non-fan, for about 12 or so minutes. Now we want to bake them till they're just starting to brown. Hopefully they now start cracking like your typical Amaretti might look like, and then we'll take them out of the oven and we let them completely cool down. Okay. So here we have our finished Amaretti. Okay, I'm just letting them cool. Okay, but I've got one here, part one. Nice crisp outer, nice and moist on the inside, which is part of what we're trying to get at. By the caster sugar, that gives it that characteristic outside crunch, but keeps the inside nice and moist. And all I've done is, while they're cooling, I've just given them another little light dusting of icing sugar. So there you go, your pistachio. I'm going to finish that a little bit off. Amaretti.